Good morning, beautiful friends. I'm warming up my coffee for the third time because, well, hashtag mom. Nathan actually took all the girls and they went to church, and I had a video to shoot for a gardening summit I was a part of, and I was kind of waiting until the last second. So I stayed home this morning to try to get caught up on some work. Now I'm gonna go outside. The plant sale is this weekend, and I have most of everything done. There's still some things I need to work on, and so I'm gonna just head out into the greenhouse, work on some of that. Also, I'm doing something pretty fun today, something that I've never done. So it's certainly an experiment on my end. And you guys know, I love a good experiment. So let's head out into the greenhouse. It was really weird to not have all the kids home today. They were excited to go with Dad. They actually even got to get donuts for breakfast. Look at all of that green. Look at that. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm just so pleased at how these are doing. Some of these are growing kind of crooked. Can you see? Oh well. Look at this. So I was kind of having a moment the other day where I felt so stinking proud of myself. You guys know when you like grow something that you've never grown before, and so you don't really know like how it's gonna do because you've never grown it before. So I've never grown eggplant. Nathan and I don't just love eggplant, but I had all these seeds, and a lot of people asked for eggplant at the plant sale. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna plant all of these seeds. I'm gonna grow them. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing, if I'm being completely honest, because I never really grew them. I didn't really know, like, if signs came up, what I needed to do to combat against that. But check out these guys. I mean, I grew some good and established eggplants. I mean, I'm so proud. Check that out. So that's awesome. They're kind of flimsy, and I can't tell if it's because I'm like watering them too much or not enough. You see their leaves kind of curling up like that. So I don't know. I've been going through and watering everything like extra because I just don't want it to dry out, and I'm noticing some leaf curl, but overall we're looking good. Yes, I'm so happy. I am hopefully gonna get the garden completely ready by the end of this week to plant the following week. So the plan is to spend the rest of the week, plant sales kind of taking first priority, as I'm sure you guys are aware. And obviously this weekend is the plant sale. But then next week, I'm hoping throughout the week I can kind of go through, finish amending the beds, and then I'll just start planting next week. I'm excited. Check out my little basils too. I did these little 6 packs of basil. Oh my gosh, those smell so good. Wow, I love growing food. My little zinnias are doing really well. Look at those. One of the only things that I had all intentions of taking that I don't think I am are my little nasturtiums. I have some that I could probably take, like these are okay. For the most part, these things just, I don't know, they didn't do as well. Oh, look over here. Look, it's an impromptu greenhouse tour. It wasn't supposed to happen, but here we are. Check out these zucchinis. These things look so good. My little peppers. I'm pretty pleased. I have just honestly been super impressed with my plants. So I fed them with fish emulsion twice, and then that was it. And you guys can see, I mean, we've got green, lush plants. We've got no signs of phosphorus. Oh my gosh. This one's actually putting out blooms. I don't actually love that, but look at that. Let's see. Can you guys see those little blooms right there? You little overachiever, you need to go in somebody's ground. So this is a German Johnson Red. I actually really, really love this. Look though, they've already got all their little suckers. It's so funny. So yeah, I mean, for me to have only fed these twice, I'm really, really pleased with just how good they look. Look how sturdy, look how thick these stems are. So impressed. German Johnson's one of my favorite varieties to grow. All of these little bad boys are putting on little blossoms. Thank goodness the plant sale's coming. You know what's so funny to me too is that I started mine later than I have ever because I've always got these tall leggy plants. I knew that this greenhouse would play a different role. But it's so funny to me just how big a lot of these things have gotten. So there's my little impromptu greenhouse tour. I wasn't expecting to take you guys on, but I got sidetracked. But today, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is ginger. This ginger I actually got months ago from my friend Sean. He grew this ginger at the ranch that he works at. And we used it fresh a lot. We had used it in some sauerkraut that we had made. And so he was explaining to me just how easily I could take this ginger and plant it in containers and it would grow. And I thought, no way, is it really that simple? Apparently ginger is super, super easy to grow in containers. Apparently you can even like buy organic ginger at the grocery store and sprout it. And so I had used some of the fresh ginger he gave me. And then I had saved some specifically for the intent to try to grow them. I mean, I've never grown ginger before. I just think that would be so cool. So I'm just going to take you guys along in this little experiment I got going on. So some of the tips that I've been told and just doing my research is obviously this is a tropical plant. So when you start this and you grow this makes a big difference. Much like anything. If you grow something tropical and you're growing it in the wrong time of year, it's not going to thrive just because it's totally out of the elements of, you know, what it's used to. So it's best to grow ginger in the summer, throughout the summer, and then that would have you planting it like spring, like right now. I do know some people that say they even start theirs later if they have a means of like a greenhouse where they can keep it in as it's growing into the winter just to protect it, because obviously it's a tropical plant. It's not going to do well in the winter. So I think that would probably depend on too. I know that when it gets time for when our temperatures are dropping and we're getting, you know, fall and winter again, my plan is to just take these containers and bring them back into the greenhouse with the heater on, and hopefully they'll do fine. So another really cool thing that I found out was we call this ginger root, but it's actually not a root at all, which is funny. This is actually, so you plant it horizontally is how you would plant it, but so this is not actually a root. This would be the stem. This would be like the main stem of the plant, and it's actually called a rhizome, which I think is really, really interesting if you guys want to do some more research on this. So yes, this right here, although it is called a ginger root, is actually a ginger rhizome. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. And so we're actually going to be planting the rhizome today. Obviously, if you're like going to the grocery store to buy ginger, the bigger piece of ginger, the better. So I've got this smaller piece of ginger, and the idea is the bigger piece, it's not necessarily the bigger the better, but the larger the piece of ginger, the quicker it is to produce ginger, because you've got this one and it's only got so many eyes. So this is only going to be able to produce plants off of however many eyes are on here, which just is a few. Then you have this larger piece, and you guys can see there's lots of places, lots of eyes on here, create and produce more ginger. And so although this is much smaller than what you would actually buy in the store, I'm going to plant both of these in the same container and just see what happens, because this is all just kind of an experiment for me, and I'm just curious to see what happens. So ginger likes light, fluffy soil. The thing is with ginger too, and this is where I'm kind of like scratching my head a bit, so it does grow horizontally, which means it would make sense to grow it in a wider, shallow pot. My original plan was to just pop it in these grow bags, which you guys can see is kind of narrow and really deep. Well, if I'm, you know, ginger's gonna grow horizontally and not vertically, I'm kind of rethinking if this is the best container to put it in. So I might try to just walk around the farm real quick and see if I don't have a more shallow pot I could grow it in. Obviously it would grow in this, but I'm wanting to provide it with the optimal conditions to grow as much. When you think about ginger taking a while, and that's the deal, I mean, it's going to take months for this to grow. I don't want to have spent months watching something and then just get like a little piece of ginger back. Like, I want to do a follow-up video to this, and I've grown like some stinking good ginger. So I'm going to just kind of walk around and see if I can't find a better you know, pot. Not that this isn't a good container, it's just more shallow to meet the needs of the ginger better. You could also pre-soak your ginger as well, and what that would look like is just like a bowl of water, a cup of water, and you just pop it in there and you wait until it starts like creating roots or sprouts. I didn't really think that was necessary. Same with the beans. Like, if you're planting any sort of beans, you can pre-soak them and kind of jump start that. I know with this in particular, it's going to take months anyways. So I was like, that part really didn't bother me. But you could certainly get a jump start on this if you wanted. All right, well, let's grab coffee and go on the hunt for a container, and then we'll come back to the greenhouse. You guys hear those roosters crowing? They started at 4 o'clock this morning. All 3 of them. You guys can see I'm making progress on the no-till bed. I did get a lot of feedback on that video that I spent more time talking and not enough time demonstrating. So I do appreciate feedback like that. So Nathan and I are going to be doing a follow-up video on that just to ensure that you guys are getting the most out of our videos and our content, and that it's helpful, obviously. For me, I'm one of those, I like to sit down on a video that I'm trying to learn and jot down notes. Like, that is how I learn. However, I respect that a lot of you are visual people, and so visual learning is what is going to suit you guys best. So I'm going to try to cater to that and make some adjustments and hopefully put out a better video for you guys on that. All right. Wow, it is really messy in here. I've got containers, however, most of them are still deep. Yeah, most of these are, I could technically grow it in this small little thing. I don't know. I mean, when I think about these are about the same size as that grow bag, so I'm like so afraid. Y'all, I stepped on a snake the other day and I cried 100%. You want to know fun little random facts about Jill? 2 things in this world that terrify me: snakes and mice. All day long. So I like went inside in a panic. I was crying. Nathan's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I stepped on a snake. Don't worry, we didn't kill it. It was a good snake. We let it be, but I'm like undoing this thinking there's gonna be a snake curled up in there. Okay, well, after assessing what I've got going on in here, I don't really have any containers that I think would work better than what I have, and I'm obviously not gonna go buy a container. Oh, actually, look, I think this will work. Ooh, there's a spider. So these are what my strawberries came in that I bought last year at the plant sale. This is actually perfect. Look at those. Score. Okay, awesome. So yeah, you guys can see that's what we're gonna choose. Hey, roosters. All right, so these are actually perfect. You can see they're shallow, wide, so that worked out really, really nicely. I'm actually just gonna take the soil from here. This is the mushroom compost, which is what I'm doing. I'm probably gonna get some sort of like, wow, this filled it up perfect. I'll probably, if I start noticing that it's drying out, which is something that happens with ginger, I'll probably put like mulch the top, maybe throw some straw on there or some cocoa coir, just to try to help keep the moisture in. All right, well, if you ever wanted to know, 1 grow bag fills up this container perfect. So ginger is a tropical plant. it does prefer full sun. However, if it's getting like super hot where you are, the really cool thing about growing food in containers is that there's the ability to just move it around. You know, so the days that we have like over 100 degrees, if I'm noticing when it starts sprouting that like the leaves are turning brown and it's just really having a hard time with the conditions, I'm probably going to end up moving it around to partial shade. And when I think about how it's grown in the tropicals and it has like rain showers often, I'll probably go through and just try to mimic the conditions that it thrives in. So for this, you are going to plant about, I mean, not super deep, like maybe half an inch deep. You certainly don't want to plant it too deep. So I'm just creating a little spot right here, kind of eyeballing it really. I'm going to plop the bad boy down. Alright, make sure it's down in there. I'm just going to cover it back up. Oh, I forgot the other piece. Whoops. Alright, I'll plop that down in there. There we go. Alright, that was simple. Now we're just going to lightly water it in, and the idea here is to not saturate it, especially in containers. Sometimes they can hold a lot of water, and so I'm just going to lightly spray it with the water hose. And then obviously when it starts to sprout, I'll make sure that it's getting plenty enough water, but like right now it doesn't have any roots or anything like that, so I'm just going to worry about lightly watering the surface. So I'm just going to kind of take my finger and test and see how far down it got wet. So it's actually wet pretty far down because the soil wasn't super dry. So that's actually pretty good. You guys see I didn't do that for very long at all. Alright, let's put it back in here. Now I do not know, I could ask my friend Sean to figure out what variety of ginger this was. I don't know that off the... Y'all, you hear the bee? Okay, so snakes, mice, bees. I mean, I love that they're in here. There are like so many bees and wasps in this greenhouse all day long. It's also like, I see its stinger. And they're just so big. That's the thing, they're so stinking big. Okay, y'all didn't know I had dance moves, but I do. Okay, so what I was saying was I don't know the exact variety of this ginger. I could ask my friend Sean. Honestly, I'm not selling this ginger. This is for my own personal use, so I'm just going to write ginger on the tag and call it good. Plop it in there. Y'all want to see this bee? You see it hiding over there? What's it doing? Okay, I think the bee knows that I come in peace. So, now that I've plopped the tag in there, we have successfully planted ginger. I'm actually going to keep it in the greenhouse. It does prefer like tropical type weather, humid, hot. Since it is still like, not that it's cold here by any means, but it is still dropping down at night to like mid 40. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep it in the greenhouse where it is pretty humid in here. It's hot in here until it sprouts. And then when it sprouts, you know, it'll be much warmer outside. We will have probably like started really getting into those warmer days and warmer nights where it's like above 50. I'll probably move it outside. And then like I had mentioned, when it gets cold again, like ginger, I mean, this will probably be growing for like months. I think that the ginger you buy in the grocery store was grown for like 8 or 9 months or something. Like that's the full maturity of a ginger. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I think. So I'm probably not gonna let this go that long because, well, y'all know me, I'm pretty impatient. But my goal is to let this at least go for like 5 or 6 months and just see what happens. I mean, how cool would it stinking be? I'm like getting dripped on, the plastic's dripping. I'm gonna get busy watering everything in the greenhouse before it ends up getting to 77 degrees and is probably well over 100 in here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today as I worked on this fun little experiment. Nathan's gonna be so proud if I actually like get ginger to sprout. I'll keep you guys posted. When it sprouts, you guys will definitely see it in a video. If it doesn't sprout, well, we know I didn't do that well. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you soon.